Anyway, somebody who certainly pops up quite a lot on television, now introduced to you, he's the thinking man's thinking man, one half of a bit of Fry and Laurie, Stephen Bitt. Stephen Fry! Stephen. Now, Stephen, well, I say you pop up on television a lot. It's true, you've got your sketch show, and, of course, Jeeves and Wooster, in Blackadder.
Modelling assignments,
modelling
New Joy of Sex.
That's why I didn't pop up.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And, of course, most of the adverts are on. Bearing that in mind, I wonder why you didn't buy a franchise and just have Stephen Fry Television.
Oh, I did consider going for Anglia, which is where I come from, but I thought in the end, probably I couldn't quite manage as many programmes as they do.
Well, I think you could, really. You could do even bigger than that. You could do B Fry B. It could be just...
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Well, it's a strange business. I was thinking old... What am I talking about? Young Phil Collins you had on earlier. The British government is behaving like the kind of rock star he wasn't. I mean, some rock stars throw televisions out the window. The British government managed to throw television itself out of the window, which is quite ingenious.
But does that annoy you as a practitioner in this great industry of ours, as it was?
Well, it does, actually, because when I started, I must say I just loved working for the BBC and for these big companies, and feeling that you were treading the very boards that you know, Wilfred Bramble, as Steptoe Senior, had trod.
Another feature in Pop-Up Joy of Sex.
And I'm just sad to see all these kind of little independent things popping up. I mean, I shouldn't talk about popping up. And of course, it's all these people like David Frost or whatever, who is a good businessman, of course, but, you know, any old actor nowadays, seems to regard themselves as businessmen. You know, they get their own production company. Oh, this is a waste of time.
Have you never been tempted to do that?
No, I'm afraid not. I mean, I would be hopeless at it. I mean, you know, the whole responsibility, you have to get a cappuccino machine and a fax machine. And a little popsy called Debbie or Caroline or something, pop her in the front desk and put up gold discs on. I haven't got any gold discs on them, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you must have. You must have.
Well, I have one, but it's slipped. But that's pathetic, isn't it? I'm sorry. Why I bothered.
You prepared that joke.
No, I didn't. I've just been sitting watching you, Max, all the time. And I'm just not up to the mark, I'm sorry. But... no, I can't bear... I mean, the whole point, it seems to me, about being a comedian is to be bohemian, you know, is to try and grow your hair when it isn't being cut, as mine has been for a part.
I'm trying to grow my hair.
Yes, it's going the wrong direction, unfortunately.
Inwards.
But, you know, is to get up late and smoke and slob about in fashion garments like this.
Yes. Which fashion is that? This is one of your Jeeves and Wooster outfits.
Sadly not, no, but it's got a little inbuilt radio mic, which is why I use it. It's very much more convenient.
Well, we're very pleased to get you on at last, happily coincidentally with the publication of your new novel, or your first novel.
Staggering,
which, I mean, I'm prepared just to show to the public this. It's called The Liar by Stephen Fry. It was £13.99, now £9.30, so it's...
Yes, it's already...
That's how we got it, yes. Well, it's great for us if we want to buy your book, because it's now £4 cheaper.
It's £4 cheaper, and of course it doesn't actually affect me, I'm embarrassed to say, because it goes from the bookseller's markup, so I still get my whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I thought I was too embarrassed to ask, really, how much I get from the sale of each one.
I think you get a lot. You generally do OK out of your business ventures, don't you?
Well, do you know, I really mustn't grumble. It's... you know, ludicrously lucky, lucky.
Now, in the book, you deal with... well, it's a novel, but people have noticed a few parallels with your own life, and people have been sort of saying, oh, is it autobiographical? Because there's this character, Adrian Healy, who's at public school and then Cambridge, and he's very tall and very clever and makes lots of jokes. But I'm just wondering whether the other character in it...
It's based on Russell Grant.
But there's Professor Trefusis, the character in the book, who is this older man who's a professor at Cambridge. I wonder if that's really you. That's the life that perhaps you could have had.
You see, your insight, the searchlight beam here, has caught me out. When I arrived at the university that you and I both had the honour to attend, though you were several years before me, if I remember right.
I was the mere John the Baptist for your arrival.
Several years and a whole hairline earlier. And I did expect and hope to see lots of snowy white, benevolent old dons with tweed jackets and leather patches and pipes and splendidly kind of eccentric lifestyles.
And
of
weren't
course,
there any?
no, it was, you know, it's all sort of leather jacketed figures with scurf and bottle-end spectacles going around the place being ghastly.
Yes.
And
my memory remained.
and the porters were very good. I mean, the David Jason character in Porterhouse Blue, as you know, was based on one called Jaggers, I think. And there's a very good story of him. I remember one particular college, which I won't name, which was famous for the fairness, the decadence, the sensuousness of its young all-male undergraduates. And there was
what are we hinting at here?
I don't know. I think they were as camp as a row of homosexuals, but it tense. And there was this noise going on about 3 in one morning, and this old porter climbed up the steps to the rooms and knocked on the door. There was no answer, and he opened the door. There was a lot of noise, and he turned on the lights, and there were about 12 of these male undergraduates, and they're all naked. And he looked around and he said, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sirs. I thought there were some women here." You see, it's no coincidence that it was in those days that we had an empire. You know?
Well, your book and about some of the other stuff you do is all about public school and in Cambridge, very elitist sort of lifestyle, and yet you're quite known to be a strong supporter of the Labour Party. Do you see any conflict there, or do you think there's room for elitism in socialism?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I enjoy the worlds of public schools and the wilder shores of unreason inhabited by our aristocracy and our ruling classes, but I don't necessarily believe in them. I think, for comic reasons, I do. I think it would be a sad England without them.
Well, if you advise somebody to send their son to a public school, do you think it's a good...
I have to say, I mean, it was I got thrown out, and of course they make us all terribly reserved and anally retentive, whatever that's supposed to mean. I'm terribly afraid I'm going to retain this chair anally when I stand up.
But I don't know if that relates, but there's also sex in the dorm in your book.
All the sex, all that, and it's all very bad, and yet there is a great fondness that I have for it. And one of the reasons I'm saying all the wrong things.
Good.
One of the reasons I like the Labour Party and so dislike the Conservative Party is because it is so soullessly vulgar. The vulgarity of the Tories. It used to be. I mean, it stands an awful reason for supporting or not supporting a political party, but the sheer bad taste, you know, the loud haircuts and the distressingly screaming suits and it's the crumpled kind of, you know, nature of everything. It's all sweaty and unpleasant and ferret-like and kind of vicious. Nick, I've got you, Nick. And England is turning into a race of people who don't trust each other. You know, you walk past people, they draw up their skirts because, oh, what's he want? I went to a restaurant the other day and
somebody said... draw up their skirts when they go.
Very nicely.
Famous.
You know, a restaurant, the waiter said, it was a takeaway thing. You go to the counter, having phoned up, and he said, someone, Markham, and the fellow next to me went, what? He said, it's someone called Markham. He said, I'm not called Markham. And I said, no, I'm not Markham. He went, Markham? And this is the attitude, it's a sort of... I know Noel Edmonds, the attitude that anything that doesn't spend 23 hours of the day sitting on a green Draylon sofa, farting in a shell suit, watching Noel Edmonds, anything that doesn't do that is sort of eccentric and weird. And that's what I loathe, I think. You know, I like a bit of madness.
That's sort of John Mortimer approach to his socialism. He's a bit of another sort of champagne socialist.
Well, no, I'm allergic to champagne, as a matter of fact, so I'm more of a good, sound tweed socialist, I think.
Well, I've never drunk tweed, but anyway, thank you very much. Stephen Fry.
Thank you.